Hello and welcome to my channel where I like to have fun with all things beauty while being critical about what I accept into my collection. Today is just a very casual chatty get ready with me. A lot of it fortunately didn't go quite as planned, so I'm going to have to definitely try this again in the future. But I hope it's at least entertaining. If you want to feel better about being proficient at anything, watch me try to do this. Hello, so I am fresh-faced. I just have some skincare and primer on. I have primer on my face and primer on my eyelids. If I'm honest, this video might not make it because I have a lot of hormonal acne right now and I'm just not quite feeling my best. And I also don't know what I'm doing. I have never attempted any kind of makeup in front of a camera or even this desk. You know, I'm really jealous of people who have space to film near their makeup. I would love to have an area to sit down when I'm doing my makeup because I take a long time. Like, I look at my makeup time as therapy, art therapy, whatever, and I can take about an hour sometimes. And it would be great to do that sitting. The setup that I have now, I keep all of my makeup in my bedroom and I put it all on in my bathroom. So it's pretty convenient. It's only a few feet away, but it is technically two separate rooms. And in my bathroom, I have to stand and use the mirror. And I have some counter space, but I really can't leave a whole lot of things in there. And I have to do it section by section. So I'll start with my eyes, then my face, then bronzer and whatever. I have to go back and forth a lot. So it's not the ideal setup. And this is our desk in the living room where we keep all of our paperwork and that kind of thing. So I certainly can't keep my makeup out here. Not that I'm even complaining about that. I guess I just mean I've never even done my makeup out here before. So I brought a mirror and I'm gonna do my best to hopefully not put it on crooked and hopefully make it not awful to watch. So we shall see. The eyeshadow palette that I'm going to be using is the What's Up Beauty Dragon Eye palette. I decided that I would use this today because it is one of the easier color stories. You know, I didn't want to come out here, try all of this for the first time, and on top of it, try to have to come up with some kind of complicated eye look. I just wanted to grab something that I knew was easy to use. And I do really like this palette. I think What's Up Beauty, the quality is phenomenal. The eyeshadow is made in Italy and it very much performs like Italian eyeshadow normally does. The mattes blend easily, the shimmers are creamy but not too thick. There's a good color gradient in this palette. I have nothing bad to say about this. I've been very tempted to try the other palettes from What's Up Beauty, but if I'm honest, I kind of was waiting for another color story to come out that spoke to me more. That being said, when they go on sale, especially like 50% off or more, like one of these days I might get those palettes, but I really felt like this was the one that I wanted the most, so this was my first. I'm really just trying my best. I'm definitely somebody who learns by doing, and sometimes that means embarrassing myself, but I don't claim to be an expert or an authority on anything, so I hope that this is just entertaining. I am very much just a regular old person playing with makeup. I have no background, I have no skill set. I am very average pretty much across the board, but I think that is also an advantage because those are the people that I like to watch. I like to watch the real people. I do absolutely include professionals in my catalog of YouTube watching, but the day-to-day stuff is really what I enjoy the most, so that's what I'm here to provide. I guess. I have no idea. I should probably stop rambling and I should probably make an attempt to put eyeshadow on. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it on. All right, so I first started using makeup for real when I was 37. So that was like 3 years ago. So before that, I used little tiny CoverGirl, the 3 shadow, CVS makeup, just 2 mattes and a shimmer. I forget what those were called, but I think the one I always used was Shimmering Sands. And I used to actually use the applicators that came in the palette. I did contour my eye. I did at least that much. I put the dark shade on the outside and the light shade on the inner corner, but I didn't blend. I didn't own brushes. I didn't actually own makeup brushes at that time. I don't think. Yeah, no, I definitely didn't. I would travel a lot, and I never, yeah, I didn't own makeup brushes. So I think the first YouTube video I ever saw was actually on Facebook. I hate Facebook, for the record. I never use Facebook except for family stuff. So I was on there for some reason, and I happened to see one of Jamie French's skits. I never watched any of her, I'd never heard of her before, but I clicked on it and I saw that it was, a link to YouTube. Back then, she was doing makeup. She was actually just mainly only makeup. But, she was funny and personable. So I started watching her content, which ironically, I don't actually watch her stuff anymore. I'm not even sure what she's doing now. But that somehow led me to come across Angie Hot and Flashy. And she's stunning. She's beautiful. It doesn't matter what age she is, she's just inherently pretty. So I was like, she's older than me. She's talking about some of the concerns that I have, especially with my eyeshadow and having hooded eyes and all of that. So I started watching, and how she did her eye makeup, that's still to this day how I do my eye makeup. I have seen many makeup artists talk about tutorials, Wayne Goss, and the whole nine, but I always default back to how I first learned, and for the most part, that works for me. I have experimented with more complicated things, halo eyes, cut creases, the whole nine, but I'm never happy with how that looks on my hooded eyes. So for me, I'm just going to stick with what I think looks good, because at the end of the day, yes, for me, it's creative expression. It's not always just about looking good. But what I feel confident in is what opens my eye up. And that's just, never say never. I could change my makeup style completely in the next 2 years. But for right now, I sort of stick with what I know, what I am comfortable doing, and what I think looks good on my eye shape. So that's what I'll be doing today. I'm going to start with this light color creature, and I'm going to put that on my outer eye. I should really zoom in for this. All right. So I just went and rewatched my eyeshadow, and I think unfortunately most of it's not usable. I was mostly filming my hair, which is not what this video is about, and it just wasn't super helpful. So I'm gonna keep going and try to just see this through to the end. Whether or not I ever publish it, I have no idea. But I am going to keep going, so we are doing foundation next. And I am using my favorite, which is the Chanel No. 1. I love this foundation, but I have to mix two shades. So I mix shades B20 and B30. I don't know that I have a perfect match doing this, but it's certainly better than either of them on their own. I also need to replace this because I am almost out. I really like to wait until I have Ulta points to repurchase these, and I usually spend at 2,000 or 4,000 points because I believe the 2,000 mark is where you get the most for your money. But I've bought so few things at Ulta this past year that it's taken me forever to get to that point. So rather than wait to get to 4,000, I think I might just use the points I have and replace this, because even though I've tried a whole plethora of foundations this year, nothing has replaced my number one. So I think rather than wait, I should go ahead and rebuy those. Speaking of favorites, my favorite concealer is still the Kosas and the Kulfi. I feel like the Kulfi is just a hair too hydrating in the sense that it leaves a little bit of a sheen, which I don't want a sheen underneath my eyes. I want to look hydrated for sure, but I don't want anything highlighting underneath. Now, I have a whole video complaining about this, but my under eyes are kind of a mess. I went to get Botox like almost 6 months ago, so it's pretty much worn off. I really only get my forehead lines and a little bit of crow's feet. I don't get that many units, although I should know how many I get, but I don't really pay attention. But this past time, especially, I felt like at no point did my forehead wrinkles go away. I'm not sure if it's because they just didn't use enough or what, but that was kind of a disaster. And then somehow I let the guy talk me into under eye filler. Long story short, I don't recommend. I had it dissolved almost immediately, and hopefully I won't have any long-term effects from that error in judgment. It's like I knew before he talked to me about it that I didn't want it. I've heard so many horror stories about that, and it's just not how I wanted to go. I wanted to do something about my hollows, but I did not think that filler was the best course of action. And I was right. It looked horrible. It was horrifying. I went from looking a little bit sunken to having bags under my eyes that were so noticeable and so distracting, you couldn't see anything else on my face. So I was horrified. He dissolved it, fine. But now the texture is just a little bit off. And he did tell me that I could go back for free and have the area kind of like an under eye facial, hydrated, fixed up, whatever. And honestly, I just haven't gone back. I do plan on doing that at some point because it's free, and I kind of think they're worth going back to in the future for Botox at some point, only because they're cheaper, and I know the guy's qualified. Like, he's medically qualified, so I don't have a problem with that as long as I guess they use more next time. If I'm paying for it, I want my lines to go away at least for a couple weeks. But regardless, don't ever let anybody talk you into, especially filler, because I feel like Botox genuinely wears off. But with filler, it can migrate, and they say it goes away. I don't know that it goes away completely. And because of that, I just think, like, make your own decision. Don't ever make a decision like that in office because they're trying to sell you something. I was a sucker. I learned the hard way. Don't do that. All that to say, I am extra self-conscious about my under eye area, so highlighting it is never something I'm going to want to do. Alright, so I use brushes, but I always like to go over everything with the sponge. And I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. This might just be a big old waste of time. I certainly can't see what I'm doing because my lights aren't bright enough. So next, I'm just going to do a tiny bit of contour. I'm going to use my Westman Atelier little stick here. I really hope I haven't been looking at the viewfinder this whole time. This mirror situation is not the greatest. Next, I'm going to use my Charlotte Tilbury Bronze and Glow. I like to just use this to soften any lines that might be left behind from the contour. Honestly, I've been doing it so long that I don't really know that it makes a huge difference. And this contour is pretty creamy. I don't think it's a problem, but I like adding more color to my face in a subtle way. And that accomplishes that. Then I'm going to use my Pat McGrath. I have this in Nude Honey. I'm also going to use this highlight. I like this highlight a lot. This is Opal Allure. The only thing I don't love in this palette is the blush. It's Naked Peony, and it's just not a shade that I particularly like. So I'm going to use my Lawless that I just picked up for 50% off GMA deals. Definitely check them out for all Lawless products. They include their most popular products, and I appreciate that. This blush is very nice. I don't think it's something that you need so badly that you should pay full price. Don't do that. But if you like cream blushes, this is a nice one. Be so interested to see what I look like when I look at myself in the mirror where I can see. Next, I'm going to use my Hourglass Leopard. I think those are leopards. The ambient lighting palette. I'm going to be using dim light underneath my eyes. I like this because it's not too brightening. And just like the shiny under eyes, I don't like to use brightening powders under my eyes because I think it accentuates the area, and I just want it to blend in and disappear as much as humanly possible. Last up, a light dusting of Kosas. Alright, while I was in there, I threw some lashes on. I put on MAC. Thanks, it's MAC and Cosmo. I like to mix these two together. And that's it. I really hope that this was watchable. I don't know. When I saw myself in the bathroom mirror, it wasn't horrible. Like, I certainly wouldn't wash my face and start over. Nothing like that. But it could be better. So I, from that, realized that I need to alter the lighting situation and mirror situation. I am going to put the outro here. If you've stuck through this, you're incredible and so kind, and I love you and I appreciate you so much. And I really hope this is the worst one of these and it can only go up from here. And like I said, I definitely have a list of at least 3 somewhat useful videos that I have on the agenda. This week was very much just getting up something using this camera and this microphone so I can start practicing editing with, these new devices in my life, and really hope to have some better stuff in the future. And I don't want to keep talking about not knowing what I'm doing and the camera and all of that. I know that that can get quite boring. And I forgot to put eyebrows on. My Benefit pomade. All right, so I have one more thing to do after I'm done filming this, but I'm not going to make you sit through that because this was painful enough. And anyway, I really hope you're having a beautiful week